Всем привет! Сегодня у нас будет интервью с немецко-канадским музыкантом Стефаном Z. Собственно, речь пойдет о том, как устраивать себе зарубежные гастроли, о том, как писать и дописывать до конца треки, о том, как работать с другими музыкантами и о том, как работать с лейблами, с чего начать. Stefan, well, hello.
Hello.
So it was nice to meet you there back in Bessonnier club, and please tell me. No, just 1 second. Yeah, this one. So please tell me just about the beginning of your DJing career, how it started, and what was the first, writing tracks or mixing them?
Yeah, I first started DJing in 2001.
Mm-hmm.
So I was finished high school in the summer of the year 2000, and my friends took me to this a rave party in the outside of Vancouver,
Mm-hmm.
and I really had a good time. And continued to go to a few more parties and stuff like that, and then really wanted to get into the DJing side of things because I've been doing music my whole life. I was playing piano and playing trumpet in high school and in a jazz band and stuff like that. So I had kind of stopped doing that, so I wanted to continue to do something musical in my life. So then I got turntables in 2000 and started DJing, or in 2001 and started DJing. Mostly playing breakbeats, actually.
Breakbeats.
Yeah. And collecting vinyl and working in worked in a few record shops in Vancouver. Ordering music for the stores and just working in the stores during the week. And yeah, it wasn't until 2007 maybe, or 2008 when I kind of started switching over to house and techno music, and started trying to produce music then as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So actually, you just said about vinyl, yeah, and actually once I played it and I realized it's not for weak guys.
Which one? Sorry.
Not for weak guys.
You played which though?
I played vinyl, just vinyl records, yeah.
Oh yes,
I
yes,
tried to
yes.
mix it. Really, you don't have Q button, yeah, and you have just to do it over and over again, yeah.
Yeah, it's about the manual touch and the feeling of everything, and yeah, it takes some time to get used to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How do you usually organize your foreign tour? I mean, going to other countries to play there. For example, how foreign club may know about you, and how can they choose exactly you, not other DJ?
Well, I think the first thing that they base their bookings off is the music that you produce.
Mm-hmm.
So Chris, the guy who does my bookings for me, my booking agent, approaches the clubs saying I have this artist, and provides them with some sound clips of music I've produced, and maybe some DJ mixes. And if they haven't heard of me, then they can kind of learn about me a little bit that way. And if they end up liking my music, then maybe that's something that they would want to book me for in the future. So I would say the first thing they base their decision on is, well, if I'm known or not, if they know about me or not. Second, if they like the music. And third, if they listen to a DJ mix and like the styles that I'm putting in a DJ mix and that type of thing. So, yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, you've played on Ibiza, yeah?
No, I've never.
Never?
Played, no.
Never? But okay, my mistake.
No. It's okay.
But have you been there?
I've never been there either.
Never?
No.
Oh, you should be there. I visited it once, 2 years ago. Nice experience, I would say.
Yeah, it looks beautiful.
Looks beautiful.
And definitely, somewhere I would like to play at some point. Yeah.
But you have to take a lot of money there, really.
Yeah, I've heard it's also expensive.
It's very expensive, and you know, one problem about Ibiza is that usually for that money which you pay there, you can get more just in the other world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like brand, and you pay for brand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And for example, when you write new track, what helps you finish it? And really, because for example, a lot of producers, they've got a lot of crazy ideas, but they can't finish.
That's me.
Yeah.
That's me also. Yeah. Well, I think that's kind of it. Is a lot of producers have lots of crazy ideas, and the easy part, for me anyway, is getting the crazy ideas out into the computer, and getting the idea out, and getting the main essence of a track out is the easy part for me. But finishing, like taking the main meat of the track, or the main idea, or the main groove of a track, and creating a full 6 to 8 minute arrangement out of that one idea in an interesting way, is a difficult part, and it's still difficult for me to do. But the one thing that does help with it is making as many strong ideas that go together as you can in the beginning. When you have that initial inspiration for the track, and you have that initial idea, make as many different types of ideas you can that go well with that initial idea, and that gives you lots of options for the future when you're arranging a track, little pieces that can glue everything together, and it makes it a lot easier later on. So that's something I definitely try and do now when I can.
And one more question. When do you realize that the track is finished and it's ready to be released?
Never.
Never, yeah?
No, you kind of get an idea of it, but more often than not, it has to do with the deadline that you maybe a label needs a track by a certain deadline, and they say like, okay, I have to have this now because you need to send to mastering and start promotion, and then the release needs to come out, so you have to have it finished by then. So that's also gives a little bit of inspiration to really like drive it home and keep focused.
And you just mentioned about labels, working with labels. I also just wanted to ask you about it. So what's okay? For example, there is some kind of just the newbie, just new producer, who wants to work with labels, and what kind of checklist must he have just to work with label? What should he do to work with label?
With any label?
Yeah, I know.
Or
that
like one that's...
I know that there are just small labels, and huge labels.
Yeah.
And just with the small label.
Well, I mean, first and foremost, above anything, the music has to be good. So the ideas of the tracks, I mean, this is what I would look for somebody who is new and upcoming and that I've never heard of that's sending music. The idea has to be original, or something about the track has to be fresh, and exciting and original. That's the first thing, and then after that, you can kind of get into the technical things like, is it mixed well, or is it sounding good on a big system or whatever, and that stuff comes later. But yeah, the music just has to be interesting and original, and not something that you're like, oh yes, I've heard that before somewhere else. That's because there's so many people doing it now. So I would say the main thing is, it has to catch your ear. It has to be fresh and something a little bit exciting. And as far as getting music on a bigger label, I mean, it's the same thing. The music has to be exciting and fresh and good, and then along with that, it also has to be technically quite good, so mixed well and working nice on a sound system, and definitely has to fit with their label aesthetic, like the sound that they're looking for. And more often than not, you need to have a personal connection to somebody at the label or a friend who knows somebody there, to even get your music listened to. So, going out to an event or something and making an introduction to, if there's a DJ or a producer playing at a party, and you like his record label or her record label, maybe you go to the party and introduce yourself, and that's a nice first step into making a relationship where you can later on maybe feel comfortable to say, hey, I have some music, maybe you would like to listen to it. I think that's pretty important these days.
And it doesn't matter how many tracks you have, just to work with label, just with small label, for example,
How many tracks you have done previously?
Previously.
No, I don't think it matters.
So, for example, if I have one track, but it's
one track released.
One track released, but it sounds good, so they can I can work with them, just it's possible,
I don't think it matters. I think if anything these days, a label wants somebody, if somebody new is going to come to their label, they want them to have less releases than more, probably.
Okay, thanks. And for example, talking about collaborations with other musicians, other producers, is it easy to come to agreement about the idea of how final track should sound?
If you're working together with somebody? I don't It's difficult, a little bit difficult for me to answer because I usually work by myself. I usually work alone. My friend and label partner who runs a record label with me, the label is called Rhombus. So my friend Oliver.
Oliver Kaletsky?
No, Oliver Nichols. His last name is. Yeah, he's Canadian. He lives in Canada. We've worked together before on some music, and it took us a few times to finally get some music finished, which is still not finished. But yeah, it definitely takes each person. For us, anyway, I felt like we had to relax our ego a little bit and allow the other person to put in ideas without saying, oh no, like maybe we should change that, or you have to kind of just be more open to other ideas and doing something that you're not really used to doing, and just get everything out there, and then afterwards you can kind of speak about how you're going to finish it. But you have to let each other's ideas and methods kind of come through, which can be difficult sometimes, for sure.
So, pretty much work actually.
Sorry?
Pretty much work, actually. Working, it
is more work. For me, it's more work than when I'm by myself. Yes.
So, and it's more about working with yourself, actually, with your
a little
ego,
bit.
as you just said.
Yes.
So.
For me, anyway.
For you. And I think I got just 2 more questions.
Sure.
So, whose music impresses you now? Whose music impressed you in the beginning of your career, and whose music impresses you now?
In the beginning, it was well, I was playing break beats, like I said. So it was these guys that was making. They're from the UK, and they were making this kind of. It was called New School Breaks, which was like had this kind of cool, a little bit of a darker type style of breakbeat. So it's these guys like Renee Pilgrim, Coma and Bones, Chris Carter, who else? Future Funk Squad. All of this type of new school. You probably haven't heard of them because they're
actually, yeah.
I actually don't know what they're doing now. I don't know if they're still making music or not, or maybe they're making a different style of music under a different name. But yeah, these guys' records I thought they were the greatest, and I actually just ripped a bunch of my vinyls to digital when I was in Canada in the summer, and so I want to play them again. And then now, who would I say is inspiring? I have a friend of mine in Berlin. A Dutch guy is Baikal. He runs. He does a label with Manuel Latuff and the Drifter called Nave. His music's very, very cool and very original and always sounding fresh. And just a really nice guy all around. So he's kind of a bit of an inspiration for me.
And what's your plans for the future?
For the future, I don't know. I'm living in Berlin now. I've been living there for about 1.5 years now, and I really like it there. It's slowly starting to feel like home a little bit. We have some nice friends there, and there's a really nice community of musicians and clubs and events happening there. So I think I'd like to stay there for at least another couple years, and see where that takes me.
And you just said about Berlin. I know that there is a nightclub called Berghain. Yeah, is it really difficult to get there, to get inside?
I think I think it's in general it's more difficult than most places. But I've gone a decent amount of times for sure, and I've never been denied. So I think if you want to get in, you can do it.
Yeah, okay. So, no. So I think we're done. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
It was really nice to hear from you this information. Really, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for no problem.